Cristiano Ronaldo versus Lionel Messi. Okay, let's understand the debate from a different perspective, a different lens, right? So when it comes to Messi and Ronaldo, people say, Messi's the GOAT, Ronaldo's the GOAT. Messi's done all this great stuff. He's accomplished this many Ballon d'Ors. Ronaldo's won this many Champions League with Real Madrid. But I want to kind of see it a little differently when we talk about the comparisons and them being the best, right? I feel like when we look at both players, right, in their prime, when they're at their absolute best, right, they played with a bunch of great players at Real Madrid. Let's start at Manchester United. When Cristiano Ronaldo was at Manchester United, he played with Wayne Rooney, Vidic, Ryan Giggs, a bunch of good players at Manchester United. So this is before he's even transitions to Real Madrid, right? So as we can see, for early on in his career, he's already playing against a bunch of other top talented players, right? And what I've always said, there has to be a little. You guys, when it comes to judging a player's career and like their and comparing them to the best players, you have to kind of like factor in who they played with as well, right? Because that matters a lot in terms of making your game a little easy. Like playing with a guy like Wayne Rooney, right? Giving them such like incredible passes. Like, okay, so like when we talk about Cristiano Ronaldo, right? Cristiano Ronaldo, throughout most of his career, he played with a bunch of great players, right? Who've enabled him to have the success that he's had, right? So my point is, from the time he was at Manchester United to the time he came to Real Madrid, and throughout most of his career, he played with a bunch of talented players, right? And understand this: when you play with other top quality players, right? Kaká, Casillas, all these top class players, world class players, right? It makes your game easier, right? Than if you're playing for a West Ham, Everton, or a really bad team, right? Where it doesn't have as good as players. So in other words, you're not asked to do as much, right? See, a lot of football fans do not look at it that way. They don't talk about it from the point of these guys have played with a bunch of great players who've made their games easier, right? Like, for example, at Real Madrid, the amount of times I've seen Di Maria or Ozil make the crosses for Ronaldo. Like, these are top class players, right? So as you can see, he's playing with a bunch of world class players that makes his game a lot easier, which enables him to play at much even higher level, right? Because his game, he's in other words, he's not asked to do as much because he's playing with a bunch of great players, right? Now, if he was playing for a bottom of the league team, then can we judge him off of that then, right? Can we say, would he be what he is today had he played for a very bad team, right? Will we be saying, is Cristiano Ronaldo the best football player all time or one of the best if he played for a bad team? And that's the same thing that I keep saying with Messi, right? Messi as well. Messi at Barcelona played with Luis Suarez, Neymar, Ter Stegen. He played with a bunch of really good players, right? Dani Alves, Xavi, Iniesta. Like, as you can see, these guys have played with a bunch of top quality players in their careers, which make their game a lot easier. They don't have to do as much, and I feel like when we talk about the best of the best, we need to also talk about that as well. Who do you play with? Because who you play with matters a lot. And in terms of making your game easier, like, you don't have to do as much work, right? Because if you're playing for a bad team, will you be a Messi that we speak of today? Will you be a Cristiano Ronaldo that we speak of today? Players, a lot of fans worldwide say these guys are the best players ever, right? would they be who they are had they played for bad teams? And we'll just never know. But in my opinion, I don't think they would be who they are had they played for bad teams most of their careers. Why? Because then you have to work way harder to to pretty much get the amount of goals you typically score. You know, um, because for example, at Real Madrid, right, when a guy like Ozil, like Di Maria is dribbling past players, he could just simply give the ball or cross it to Ronaldo. Ball comes to him. He doesn't even have to. All he has to do is just shoot the ball. It's in the net. If he's playing for a bottom team, who's that player that's going to be doing that for him, right? Ronaldo will have to work extra harder playing for bad teams. And Messi will have to work extra harder playing for a bad team. So football fans have to understand when we talk about these guys being the best, let's also talk about who have they played with. They've played with a bunch of high world-class top talent that have made their game easier to where all they have to do is just score basically. Just like you don't have to do a whole lot basically, right? And it'll be super interesting, but it's one of those things, it's always up for debates, discussions, and it's cool, right? But it's just one of those things we have to talk about and understand as football fans. Would they be who they are had they not played with these guys who are also world class, who played at a much higher level as well, right? And personally, I do not think they will be Messi and Ronaldo scoring the amount of goals that they score had they played for trash teams that get relegated every other season basically. They don't consistently stay in the league. They keep getting relegated basically. They will definitely not be that. And any fan who disagrees with that cannot understand, first of all, where I'm coming from and where I kind of see this basically, right? Because when you think about it, in any team that you play, even I'll use myself for example, right? I play pickup soccer just for fun, whatever, right? If I were to play with a bunch of really good soccer players, pros, right? They can pretty much make it to where I don't have to do as much. All I gotta do is make the right cut or run the right place, and they'll just deliver the ball to me. Or the point is, when you play with highly talented players, you don't have to do as much. It's just that simple. No matter what sport you play, it could be basketball, it could be baseball, it could be just any sport. If you play with world-class players, you don't have to do as much. The game is made easier for you. You don't have to do as much. So, to conclude, I will say it'll be very interesting to see Messi and Ronaldo in their primes, see them playing in teams that are not as good as a Real Madrid, a Barcelona, a Manchester United. Like high-end top teams, basically. Like it'll be super, super cool and interesting to see would they be who they are had they played for those teams. That is something I feel like would have been cool to see. But it's always one of those things, you can always debate, just talk about. And it's all well and good too, right?